Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2. And today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Was Banished and now Konoha needs him. Remember to give this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Went Insane with a powerful bloodline and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. And also remember to go ahead and check out the other channels. And yeah, let's get straight into this guys. So the last time we left off, he failed. As Naruto failed to bring back Sasuke, as he met the fox once again, he spoke to the fox. As he had to thank the fox after all, it was because of the fox why he was not dead, always pumping chakra through his system and healing his wounds. If it wasn't for the fox, he would surely be dead by now. But Naruto had a bad feeling as he stepped foot in Konoha. He felt like something was wrong, as he was lying on the hospital bed. It didn't take too long for him to realize why he was having a bad feeling as he was called. Snatty didn't want to do this. Seemed like she was being pressured into do this, as she seemed angry, furious, but she still gave the order. As Naruto was shocked when he heard that he was banished from the village for failing to bring back Sasuke. All the blame was placed on him. As Naruto stood there completely shocked, unable to believe what he was hearing at the moment. He was banished from the village, as he couldn't understand. After all that he did, after everything, a part of him broke right there and then. As his mind just shut down, he did not even fight back as he just stood there, still shocked to everything that just happened. As Naruto was told that he should leave by tomorrow, as Snatty seemed to be struggling with her thoughts as she looked towards him, unable to look him in the eyes. As Danzo and the others agreed with this wholeheartedly. A celebration was kept that night for the banishment of the demon brat finally, just to show how much they hate him even after everything. As Naruto spoke to the fox, as she was sad, shocking, yes, it was a girl. As Naruto was surprised by that, she told him that it was all her fault, that she was the cause of all of this. She was the reason why he was so hated and everything. But they didn't have any choice, as she was not given a choice to be sealed inside him either way. She was shocked that he did not see her as a problem. These people seen him as something that he was not. As Naruto decided to leave that night, he was going to check up on his friends when he saw them at the festival, as they were also there as well, as that broke him even more. He blew his apartment up in a grand explosion before leaving the village, and he was gone. Some time passed as Naruto got mixed up in a war between the rain and the grass. The rain ninjas came to fear him as he was known as White Fox because of his White Fox mask. As Naruto was trained by the Kyuubi, he was trained hard. As a group of girls were being hunted by a group of guys, bandits, as Naruto swiftly dealt with them. They told him where the camp was, where the other bandits were, as Naruto came there and dealt with them. The smallest one of the group, a girl named Suzu. She had this strange bloodline, which Naruto wasn't sure what it was, but she was able to make the man scream and cry blood, as he passed out dead. That was weird. Things escalated after that point. Within that village, the people were beyond grateful for what Naruto did for them, as everyone got to know them there. as Naruto had been able to free the Kyuubi. It turns out that it was more than a sensei or teacher relationship, as things between them escalated, with him being able to free her to the point of being an actual real person, her chakra molding into an actual body. They had kids, 2 of them to be exact. Konoha was not faring so good either, as they were currently in a war and they were losing big time. With the loss of their Jinchuriki, things were bad on them, as Kakashi sent a group out for aid, as they wanted the aid of the White Fox. If they were able to convince him to show his face within Konoha, the rain would back off, as the rain was being, conspired to join into the war with Kumo, and if they joined, Konoha would be surrounded. So with that, the Konoha team that he dispatched went off. It didn't take them too long. Boruto had separated from his father and mother as he went out to the woods, where he was grabbed by a Kumo ninja. As he told the man to let him go, as his father was not gonna like this. He told him that just watch until his father got here. As the Konoha ninjas were shocked when they saw Boruto, as his appearance looked so much like Naruto. Before the man could do anything, he was grabbed violently. The next thing he knew, he was being choked out, as all life was slowly leaving him, as Naruto stood there before he dropped the man. As he then turned towards his so-called past friends. "Hey," he said. His voice giving away nothing, nor how he felt. So yeah guys, that's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So let's begin this new episode. After Naruto had dealt with the Kumo ninja, he checked up on his son. He then heard a voice call his name. As he turned, a bit surprised to see a person that he never expected to see out here. As he saw some of his former classmates standing there. As he looked at all of them, they had all grown. But they were all showing one expression on their face, and that was shock. To Naruto though, he didn't have much to say to them, as he placed both hands on Boruto's shoulder before he vanished, along with Boruto. The Konoha group took a second to get over their shock, as Asuma ordered them to find Naruto, as all of them scattered. Who was the child? Has Naruto been here the whole time? What has he been up to all these years? As he was gone so quickly, just how strong or faster he was right now. Those thoughts were rushing through everyone's mind. But the most important question was from Hinata as a realization slapped into her. As she remembered what the boy said clearly. "You wait until my father get here." And then he said that when he saw Naruto, someone stole her Naruto away, her dream that she had barely kept onto, that she had held onto, that someday she might see him again and something might happen between them and just crumble in front of her. Who stole her Naruto away from her? As her shock turned into anger, as she had desperately clawed onto her imagination for these past couple of years, that the village would gain a sense of mind and return Naruto back to the village. And there, she would finally have the courage to talk to him and be with him. But now, someone had stole her Naruto away from her, and she was angry. With Shikamaru though, his mind was going through several tactics at Naruto's speed. None of them could keep up with him, as he could barely sense him. He was gone already. Maybe if they had Lee, and he had removed his weights, and activate a few of his gates, he could keep up. But Naruto's speed was completely unnatural. He was fast, really fast. As Shikamaru already thought about it, if they had found Naruto anywhere out here, he would have most likely already moved on. It's been a long while since he'd been away from Konoha. Maybe he even started a family, and he was living peacefully. It seems like his theory about a family was right. If that was true and he was living peacefully in a village somewhere, then who were they to take that away from him? Not his friends, that was for certain. As Kiba and Akamaru were trying to find his scent, but it was like it just vanished. Something was definitely wrong here. As they came up on a village that was mainly full of females and some traveling entertainment, the two walked in as they were immediately the center of attention. For the village, it wasn't every day that you saw a ninja, and especially not a massive dog accompanying said ninja. As Kiba and Akamaru ignored the looks, instead they focused on trying to find Naruto and that boy who they assumed was his cub. But despite their tracking skills, They found it very hard to find the blonde within the village. Its scent was somehow lingering in the air. Here at the place, but almost surrounding so thin that it was confusing to them. Before they could continue their so far fruitless search, Asuma and Ino appear. "You find him yet, Kiba?" asks Ino. "Nothing. It's almost like he's been everywhere around here too much time. Too much for me and Akamar to count." "Well, if that's the case," Asuma said as he walked over. "Excuse me there, miss," he said. "Have you happened to see a tall, blonde man with a child with similar blonde hair walking around?" As Asuma tried to keep his description vague. "Oh, you mean Naruto and his son Baruto?" the woman says. "Actually, yes, I have. They went back to their home just in that direction in the forest." As she gave Asuma a smile. "Thank you," he said with a bow. He and his two students made their way towards the direction where Naruto's house was. But they had to move through a thick forest. And it was really thick. Even a lot thicker than the one within Konoha. As they leapt through the trees, there were many vines and branches sprouting out in all different directions. So they could not just hop and hop and hop. They had to maneuver around, so they would not get hit off the branches. Off in the distance they saw a cleanly white house up ahead, with a lake off in the distance. "There," said Asuma, as the group made their way towards it. As they landed within the clearing they saw Naruto and the child now named Baruto walking towards the house. "Naruto!" Kiba yelled. Naruto gave a sigh as he turned towards the three of them. As he looked at them with an impassive look, as he crossed his arms, as Baruto stood beside him watching. Before anyone could say anything, the others appeared. They all got a good look at him as he removed his arms, and just placed them in his pockets as he looked at them all. The group, although excited to see their long-lost friend, felt the look that he was giving them, as he was giving them this glare. At the same time, not wanting them to be here, but at the same time not caring about them one bit, in the slightest to care if they were here or not. Hinata has grown a lot more confidence over the past couple of years. She realized her lack of confidence made her unable to do certain things. And now she had her chance, she stepped forward, but the door then opened up to show a slender woman with long crimson hair and eyes step out of the door. She looked at her husband and son before seeing the Konoha ninjas in front of them. Kurama had to keep up her facade as she pretended to look shocked to see the Konoha ninjas here, but in her mind she was grinning devilishly as she saw the Hyuga, who was petrified where she stood, as she wanted to burst out laughing, as she thought that she could claim Naruto for hers. As it was really amusing watching her. "Naruto-kun," said Kurama. "What's going on out here?" she asked. "Nothing. Just a pass trying to catch up to me. Nothing more," said Naruto. "Naruto," said Asuma as he stepped forward. But he regretted it as he passed Hinata. A killer intent slammed into him, as he felt himself ready to drop to his knees if he got any closer, so he had to take a step back. Asuma looked at the blonde wide eyes, as he started to breathe heavily. "I don't know why you're all here when you have a war to fight, or how you find me, but here's some advice," said Naruto, as he ushered his family back inside. "Leave this place, and never come back." His eyes snapped towards him with the coldest look they had ever seen from him, followed by a detrimental killing intent. The group felt like their very souls were being ripped out, just a mere warning for them to stay the hell away from here, as Naruto's killer intent changed everything around them. As the sky turned blood red, they heard terrifying screams coming from everywhere. Blood was pouring down from the heavens as they saw their own body lying down, mutilated and torn apart, as they saw a creature standing tall over Naruto with massive 9 tails. It was a 9-tailed fox. "Run," it said. And just like that, everything snapped back normal. There was no bodies, nothing was there. And the sky was normal, the house was normal. All of the ninjas were petrified. As Kurenai was petrified, was that a genjutsu? As they could not stand there for too long as they had to leave, they made their way back in the village area. As the white-haired girl at the bookstand saw them. "Oh, you must all be friends of Naruto-san." They looked at her and they saw how calm she was and how calm everyone else was. It seems that the genjutsu did not stretch out here. Perhaps it just hit them alone. "You know him," said Kiba, soaring a bit, as he still felt a bit woozy from that genjutsu, even from coming back all the way out here. "Of course," she said. "Everyone know Naruto-san. He's the one that saved us all those years ago." Save you all, Asuma said. Setsu dropped her smile for a moment, but she regained as she told me the story. Well, years ago, most of the people here were taken by a large organization of human traffickers. A few of us, myself included, managed to escape the camp, but we weren't able to go too far until we were hunted and found. But Naruto-san had came and saved us all. We then returned back to the camp and he showed no mercy to all of them. And he let myself dealt with the leader, said Setsu. I think he said something about him being a sound ninja. The group was surprised by that. Yes, Naruto-san is the best. He's the reason why most of us here are still here. After removing that mask, he stayed, and he raised a family. Mask? What mask did she know? Setsu looked at him a bit confused. As she saw the look on their face, they were confused. As she then smirked a bit, a gleam in her eye. Well, a long time ago he used to be the White Fox. To say that the group of Konoha ninja were shocked, that was an understatement, as they couldn't believe what they just heard. How could the number one knucklehead, hyperactive ninja, become the infamous, ruthless White Fox that the entire village of the Hidden Ring was afraid of? The thought alone was shocking. Could that really be? They were just taken aback by it all, as Setsu had a dark smirk on her face, a look that made the Konoha group question how much she knew, or why the hell she was looking at them like this. Finally, she decided to answer their concerns. I may not know much about Naruto-san's past, but one thing he told me was his very strong dislike for the village hidden within a leaf. And as she looked up towards her headband, judging, as she saw the sweat on their faces, that you all ran from his home, I take it, he didn't welcome you quite well. As her face returned back to that normal smile, as the group looked towards her a bit uneasy before Choji asked a question. So, he has a family now, he said. Yes, said Setsu. I have no idea where his wife came from, but he has 2 children, a son and his younger daughter. You all should head back to your village. I highly doubt what you came here for. You would get it from Naruto-san. As she turned back and went inside back in her bookshop. As the group realized that they weren't wanted here, as they felt the ominous feeling by just standing in this village. And Naruto was definitely not going to help them. Not to mention it still hasn't worn off yet. Despite already being so far and minutes passing, they still felt uneasy. The group decided to get the hell out of there. Back at Naruto's house, he had to fight off the urge not to drive his fist into the wall, but he didn't want his children to see the side of him. As he sat down calmly as Kurama placed her hands on his shoulder, he opened his eyes as he saw her staring back into his. Are you okay? She asked in a rather soft tone, as Naruto cuffed her face and gave her a kiss, before he brought her down to sit next to him. Yeah, I'm okay. As long as I have you guys, I'll never go back there. Really? Akira said, as she sat next to her father and looked up at him. You promise you won't go back there, Dad? You don't have to worry about me, guys, said Naruto. I will never leave you guys. As the small child thought that those ninjas were here to take her father away and bring him back to the village. As she jumped and hugged him, as Boruto stand there protectively for his family, as he wouldn't let them take his father, as he would fight them off. Time skip, a few days later, Konoha. To their shock, it took 2 days for the shock of the genjutsu to wear off, but they were now finally back home. Sakura and Team Guy was in the office when they returned, as Kakashi was glad to see that they were back, and to hear what news they have for him. I take it you all have news for me, he said. His tone might sound jovial, but he was tired, and not to mention frustrated at the council. Asuma stepped forward. Hokage-sama, he said. We found Naruto. The mere sentence surprised Team Guy, and especially Sakura and Kakashi. As for Sakura, a lot had happened to her. When she heard that Naruto was banished, she broke down. Sasuke was gone, and Naruto was her friend. As much as she used to pick on him, as much as she used to mock him and punch him, it made her realize after a week or so that he was always there for her. And now that Sasuke was gone, he was the only one that could cheer her up. He was the only one that could smile and make her think that everything was actually going to be alright. He was the only one that could say, I'll bring him back, I promise. And made her think everything was going to be fine. But when he went away as well, It broke her. As she was left alone. Yes, she had her friends still around, but her team was gone. But now hearing that they found him. But she saw the sad look on their faces. But she wanted to be optimistic. Where is he then? Is he outside Kurna cut her off? He's in a small country near the border of Earth Village. He has a family, and he's living peacefully with no intentions of coming back. Kurna had to avert her eyes from Sokka's face, as she saw the broken look on it. Kakashi was shocked by that. He's also the White Fox Shikamaru, as that jolted everyone that were not there. Someone in the village told us about everything, that he saved them from bandits a couple years ago, and not to mention he was also the White Fox before he removed the mask. Now he's living with his wife and children. Naruto-kun is married? Said Lee, as Shikamaru nodded. As Kakashi sighed, he will have to inform the council about this, as they were hoping that somehow they could get the help of the White Fox to help them get the hidden rain off their back. But now, time skip, council room. As the people in the room were cursing, how could that demon brat deny helping us? He should be grateful for us giving him a chance to return. There is no way that monster is a hero to anyone. If anything, he should be begging us all to come back here. Damn that demon to exactly where he belongs. In hell. Enough! Kakashi shouted at the civilian council, as the man was pissed off. These people had the right to say, why won't he come back? You all claim all of this when it was all of you who had him banished in the first place. This is your penance for your arrogance and selfishness, and this village would suffer because of all of you. Kakashi effect was there for the shinobi side, but not for the civilians. But a certain bandaged elder had different thoughts. Time skip. After the meeting, Danzo sat in his chambers, as all his plans were in shambles now. He was the main driving force as well behind this banishment. He would never just let the Kyuubi Jinjoki go free. He needed the beasts. But when his envoys had made their way, they could not find the damn brat. He had fled before the time that was given. Danzo was sure that he would say goodbye to his friends, but things did not work out that way. It seems the boy was able to harden his feelings and run. He did not let his emotions slip. And then, when his roots went out to find him, he was gone. It was almost like he dropped off the face of the damn world. As that really pissed Danzo off, as the Kyuubi Jinjoki was not in his grasp. But now, to find out that he was the infamous White Fox, that was wonderful news. As he already had a sadistic plan in mind. Sigh, as the root ninja appeared. Yes, Danzo-sama, he said. You and a group will be going to our country. I will need that boy under my control before my plans come to fruition. And if he won't come willingly, we'll have to see how much he loved those precious children of his. Unbeknownst to Danzo though, there was a small snake just outside of his quarters, listening on to this piece of information. As that small snake slithered away to relay the information to his master. Time skip within Orochimaru's base, as the snake was slithering to its master as quickly as possible. Before the snake could get there though, something stepped in its path. The snake looked up, but before the thing could speak, another thing behind it spoke. Ah, it seems that my spy has returned. Earlier than expected, Orochimaru said, not looking pleased. I gave you specific information to stay till a month. Why are you back so soon? What could be so important? The snake answered with a few hisses, as Orochimaru started to chuckle, before he burst out in a full-on cackle. What is it? The figure said. Orochimaru stopped his cackle as he turned towards the figure. Why? He was just telling me that your old teammate had been found. Sasuke-kun. Sasuke stepped out of the shadows. The mirror. Hearing that dope's name made his blood boil. It wasn't that Sasuke saw with his own eyes that, even after getting so much stronger, Itadori was overcome by Naruto Rasengan. But the thing was, Naruto held back. He saw it, clear as day, so that he would not get hurt. How dare he held back on him? It pissed Sasuke off. When Sasuke heard about his banishment, he laughed. Look all the dope did for Konoha, look what he did. Look how much he protected them. Went out of his way to save this village, and yet they banished him. That was just sick. Sasuke thought that he might have crawled under some bridge and just died, but that turned out not to be the case. He went missing for a long time, and no one heard anything about him. Not even Orochimaru could pinpoint or find him anywhere. And it also seems that Danzo is the one with this information, and he's gonna get the Kyuubi Jinchuriki back on his side by taking his children. As Sasuke was shocked by that, as he was angry by the prospect of hearing that dope had children, even after he went out of his way to embarrass him. How could he find happiness after his banishment? As Sasuke Sharingan sprang to life at hearing this new piece of information. And what exactly do you plan on doing about this? Sasuke asks. Well, it will be very useful to my own plans. If the boy were to be dealt with before, being forced to go back to Konoha to aid them, and I think those small children of his would make excellent leverage as well. As Sasuke realized what the Sannin was asking him to do. Time skip a few days later, as Naruto was calmly making his way with Akira. She has been pestering him how her eyes kept on changing to red ever since those Konoha ninjas came by. Instead of asking her mother to explain it all to her, she kept on pestering him to spend more time with him. It's not like he was against it, he actually loved her attitude of sticking close to him. But she just wanted to make sure that he would never leave, and that those Konoha ninjas could not take him away. But he loved his daughter staying close to him, as he found it really cute. As he brought her out to the clearing and sat down, right under the tree as he pat beside him. But she frowned, as she came over and sat in his lap, as she crossed her arms. But he saw a sad look on her face. Akira, this wasn't about asking me about your eyes. Now was it, he asked. She stayed quiet as Naruto held her close. Akira, do you see that out there? As she looked up, as she saw there was a smile on her father's face. As she couldn't help but smile as well, a tiny one. As she turned her head to see a beautiful sight. Flush green flowers and grass, as it was a beautiful meadow right in front of them. Akira, he said. As she looked up, have you ever wondered why me and your mom came here? She shook her head. No. It was because we looked at this place and we saw something that we've been craving for a long time now. And what exactly is that, Dad? She asked. A chance to start over. A chance where we don't have to worry about our past, our faults. We can leave them all behind. A chance to do something and have something we want for so long. A family. As he looked down towards his baby girl. You and Boruto are my world. Your mom is a woman I love with all my heart, and I will never let anything stand between me and you three. I love all of you. I love this place. I love our home, and I would not trade any of it for the world, Akira. Okay? Her eyes got misty with tears as she threw herself towards him and hugged him, as she cried into his chest as Naruto hugged her. After a minute or so, she pulled back, her eyes no longer teary. Then, I want to get just as strong as you, Dad, she said. Can I? Of course you can, Akira, said Naruto. Me and your mom will even train you if you want. There are a few things that we have to... Naruto grabbed Akira and moved out of the way, as a few shurikens embedded into the tree. The shuriken kept on coming, as Akira was squirming in fear, wondering what the hell was going on. Akira, it's okay, I got you, said Naruto, as she leaned into his chest, as she trusted her father. As Naruto dodged, as he saw no, one of them were aimed towards his baby girl. He reached out and grabbed the thing. Before he pulled his hand back and threw it, it moved with such speed as it stabbed right into Shinobi's chest, tearing into the clothing, bypassing the armor, showing how much force he threw it with. As the Shinobi dropped dead, as the Root Ninja dropped, as 20 Root Envoys surrounded him. Naruto Uzumaki, our mission is to ensure your cooperation with Konoha. Will you submit and come with us peacefully? As Naruto's eyes focused on the man that spoke. I already gave my answer to the bunch of Konoha ninjas that came by earlier. My answer remained the same. Now leave, or I will ensure none of you do. As Naruto clutched his daughter to his chest as she could not see anything that was going on. But this was just a diversion. With Sai. His main objective was to capture one of these children that Naruto had. Him and a few others arrived at the house. One of the Root Ninjas that possessed wood style was able to open the door. Once the door was open, they went inside to search for the child. They weren't concerned about the wife. They would subdue her. "Hey!" a boy shouted as he turned to see. As Berta stood there. "Who the heck are you guys? And why are you in my house?" Target acquired his eye as he flashed behind the boy to knock out the boy, but the hand grabbed his phone as Sai felt a snapping motion in his wrist, as his hand was snapped easily before he was thrown and smashed into the wall. "I don't know who you are, but coming after my son, you sign your own death warrant." "Kick their ass, Mom," said Boruto, as Kurama chuckled at her son's antics. "Stay inside, Boruto. I'll take care of these Konoha scums." The four stepped back as they all exited the house. Sai was able to pull himself up as he pulled out a scroll and placed it on the ground and pulled out a brush. As he only had one arm to do this as he writing his scroll fast, he then raised a single hand sign as animals erupted from the scrolls. As they came forward, Kurama looked at them before she released her power as they melted into ink. She didn't move as she appeared next to Sai, her feet already raised up. Sai was not fast enough to move as her feet slammed against his broken arm. This time, Sai felt something crack as the force was unnatural. Blood exploded from his mouth as he was sent sailing like a bullet, slamming into one of the thick trees around the area. As she pulled out a sword that was strapped behind her, before she moved and took off the other two heads. The root ninja of the wood style was shocked as he watched the other ninjas lose their head within seconds. He started to go through hands until her eyes landed on him. A feeling of bloody fear watched over him as he saw himself being mutilated and ripped apart. As he got ensnared in this genjutsu that was too advanced to be done by any ordinary person. Who was this woman? Just who in the hell did Naruto Uzumaki marry? As Kurama walked over to him slowly, as the man was shaking violently at this point. As she pulled her hand back until she heard a squeak. As she turned and she saw Boruto's mouth wrapped up. A snake had wrapped him up tightly. The snake then vanished. "Boruto!" she cried out in rage and anger as the explosion of power sent the root ninja sailing. Meanwhile, with Naruto, with just one hand, Naruto was able to slap and defeat all of the root ninjas while still holding on to Akira, as she was perfectly fine until he felt a bone-chilling scream from where he was, as he felt the rush of power, as Naruto wrapped up Akira in his arms. Because he would have to move fast, so he made sure to hold on to her, so that her body would not jerk violently when he moved. It only took seconds as he arrived, as he saw Kurama gripping the root ninja by his throat. "Where did he take my son? Where is he?" she screamed in his face. As Akira heard her mother screaming, she held on to her. "Father." As tails started to emerge from Kurama's back, as Naruto saw Akira was shaking as she was afraid. "Where is he?" she shouted. "Kurama," said Naruto, "that's enough. Not until I know where these worthless sack of flesh took our boy." "Kurama," said Naruto as she focused on him. As he looked down towards his daughter who was shaking, her eyes immediately softened as she saw Akira. She dropped the near lifeless body as she reined in her anger. The rage in her eyes replaced with grief and sadness. As she broke down, as Naruto walked over to her, this was not a sight that she wanted to show to any of her kids, ever. As Akira stood there as she saw that her mother was now sad, as she was going to make her way over until she was grabbed. "Dad! Mom!" she shouted, as the two of them snapped their gaze when they saw she was being held up by none other than Chop as he knocked out the small child. As it was none other than Sasuke Uchiha himself. Kurama's eyes flashed with nothing but rage as Sasuke activated his Sharingan, a genjutsu that he made specifically to incapacitate the beast within Naruto, so that next time they fought, he would have to show him what he was capable of. As Kurama felt her body getting woozy, as her eyes slowly shut, but the genjutsu taking effect, as the Sharingan was able to subdue Bijutsu after all. As he cast the same thing on Naruto, but to his surprise, Naruto did not fall. Instead, Naruto got to his feet. "Sasuke, what the hell are you doing here?" he said. If you want your children to stay safe, Why don't you come and get them? Oh, and if you really want to know where I am with these two brats of yours, why don't you ask your leader? As he pointed toward the pale root member. As Sasuke flashed Johansen and launched a massive fireball jutsu, it was aimed at the man and Kurama, who was seized on the ground from the genjutsu, and Naruto. As Sasuke's eyes kept the genjutsu up as Naruto felt the wounds in his butt. To Sasuke's surprise, he fought through it as Sasuke flashed away with a carrying toe. As Naruto grabbed the man and Kurama as he moved out of the way. This man would need it so he can get the information out of him. As he looked towards the seasoned Kurama as he placed a hand on her as he released the genjutsu, her body stopped seizing as she was still unconscious. As Naruto's powerful chakra erased Sasuke's chakra out of his system completely. As for the root ninja, now able to fully stand after that killer intent that Kurama released, had receded away. He tried to use his wood style to capture the both of them, but before he could, his face was grabbed by an iron grip. As a hand grabbed his left arm and snapped it. Same for the other as Naruto kicked him in the chest. Who the hell sent you? As the man looked up, Danzo-sama sent us to ensure your loyalty in this war. As Naruto's eyes started to glow ominously, with so much rage that it looked like he was gonna burst. A little after his banishment, Naruto had found out that Danzo won't use him for some kind of weapon. Thanks to Kurama, he managed to escape those root envoys back then. If Danzo knew where Orochimaru was that mate, it was time for him to get some answers himself. If he wanted my attention, then he's got it, said Naruto. I am going to get what I can from Danzo. Then I'm going to use that information to find Orochimaru and Sasuke, and after I'm done skinning their very flesh off their bones, I'll return back to Konoha, said Naruto, as his eyes flashed demonically. You people banished me, and yet, after all these years, you came to find me just to seek out something that you can't handle. I'll return back to Konoha indeed, but once I'm there, I'll burn it to the ground. Before the man could say anything, Naruto slammed his fist into the man's chest with an unnatural force as something bulged in the man's back. His organs ruptured, his heart exploded from the inside as blood poured out of him. At that moment, Kurama groaned as she started to wake up. Naruto, she said. As Naruto helped her up, Kurama, he said. His eyes were burning with rage. We're going to Konoha. The next day, back in Konoha, panic was already starting to set in from the people, as everyone was dreading an attack. The people were in a state of misery as they counted the days until Orochimaru and his forces attacked them. Their allies abandoned them because they decided to banish someone that brought hope to those very allies. Not to mention that word had been spread that Naruto Uzumaki was found, but he refused to come back to the village. That made things a whole lot worse. If he would have come back, perhaps some of their allies would have come back with him and helped them defend them in this war, but that was not going to be the case, it seems, as some people wanted to leave. But Danzo root envoys did not allow that. That would just show people that they were weak. It pained Kakashi, but he had no choice but to reinstate Danzo root envoys, which the man had all along. The regular envoys were spread far too thin, and they needed Danzo's forces. As regular Jonin and Chunin were also off the table, as they were preparing for the upcoming war that was coming to their doorstep. Genins were too unprepared for this situation, so the only choice that he had was Danzo. Kakashi looked towards the monument of the previous Hokages. Sensei, I failed you. I failed this village. I failed your people. But most of all, I failed your son. As Kakashi looked down, as he didn't know how to ask for forgiveness after all his failures, there was a knock on his door. As he sat back down, enter, he said. As the door opened, Kakashi heard the voice of an old friend of his. Wow, I lived for a few years, and this happened. Looking up, Kakashi saw Jiraiya of the Sannin standing there. Jiraiya, he said. After Naruto was banished, and Jiraiya had returned a week later to hear that, he had went out searching for the blonde. But Naruto did something and Jiraiya could not find him one bit. Nothing that he did could find Naruto no matter what. As after a while, he decided to find Tsunade to see if she might know anything, but once he found her, after a long while of searching, she had returned back to her old habits, drinking, gambling. It pained Jiraiya to see her back in that old way. He had talked to her and begged her to come back, but the only thing that he got was a punch right in the face. All her grief, all her anger leapt upon the council, the people, and the people that called for his banishment. She released it all on Jiraiya that day. This was all done for a traitorous brat, that Uchiha who didn't give a damn about anyone, and they blame it all on Naruto. Jiraiya was not there that day, when she saw that look in his eyes, as he realized that she would never come back unless Naruto willingly came back as well. That was when Jiraiya heard of the Hidden Rain joining the Sound and Kumo, so that he could destroy Konoha. Yes. He just heard about the news and now he was here. Been a while, huh, Kakashi, he said. How are you holding up, he asked. Kakashi rubbed a hand down his face. The people of Konoha has lost hope. The Anvus are stretched so thin. Most of my ninjas are that. There will be more casualties even if we win this war. The Jonin and Chunins are preparing, the ones that remain. But they are slowly losing their morale to go on. The council is up my ass, trying desperately to negotiate a full-on assault against the approaching forces, and I had no choice but to reinstate Danzo's route Anvu. And to make things worse, Osama and Kurna's team found Naruto within Earth Country. Jiraiya was surprised at that. They did? Where is he? Is he back in the village? Naruto is just fine, Jiraiya. As a matter of fact, he has a wife and 2 children, and he has no interest in coming back here at all. And also, he is the White Fox. What? Said Jiraiya, shocked as he heard about that particular individual. Naruto is the one that is listed in the bingo book as a double S rank ninja, the White Fox. He is the sole reason why the grass is still standing, and why the Hidden Rain fear anything when it comes towards the White Fox. They would cower and run away at the mere mention of his name, and that's all Naruto. Jiraiya was baffled at this new information, but at the front gate, the 2 guards were back, watching the movements outside the village, as route Anvus had dispersed everyone. As they heard a rustling sound not too far away from them, as they went on high alert only to see a few rabbits running out. As they returned, only to see flames appear out of nowhere, as 2 figures appear in a sunshine made from flames. What the hell? One of the guards said take no kunai, but their caution turned into pure fear when they saw who was in front of them. A blood-red coat that reached past his knees, black pants, tight black shirt, with his white mask on as he picked it up once again, becoming the White Fox once again. As there were weapons on him, but they did not know. After all, his cloak did not give away anything. A woman stood next to him, but her coat was a dark crimson color, as her outfit was similar. Her long red hair was tied up in a ponytail, as she had a sword on her back. He had his sword as well, but it was on his waist. His blade that was said to be wielded by a demon. People did not know if he was one, after all they did not see behind the mask. Her sword was short, as it was a black sheath with a dark crimson handle. Let's go. As the White Fox moved, until the 2 ninjas stepped in front of him, their body tense and trembling in fear, as Naruto glanced towards Crime as he flashed behind the 2 and knocked them out. They didn't want to just go on a killing spree yet. They were going to make this village suffer. They had tried so hard to just forget about the past, especially Naruto, but yet they came after him, and now his child was missing. His baby girl Akira, and his boy Boruto. He was going to make them think they had some sort of security before he tear it away from them. You know, we could just rip them all to pieces right here and now, ignoring the plan just to relish in their suffering. I know, said Naruto. But not yet. We're sticking to the plan. As they were surrounded by root Anvus, as people were wondering what the hell was going on, as they saw the white mass, that was a White Fox. As they wondered what he was doing here, there was a poof as a seal on his coat went off, as he threw something towards one of them as he caught it. As Naruto spoke, I wish to speak to the leader of this man. The root ninja opened the bag as he looked inside to see a head of one of their ninjas. I'll only ask this one time and one time only. Where is Danzo? The ground cracked underneath him as a killer intent assaulted each and every one of them, until a pink-haired girl ran out of the crowd, as she stood there shocked to who she was seeing. But the blonde ignored her. I'm here. Tell him to come out here now, said Naruto, before I start getting impatient. As the crowd started to get filled with several faces that Naruto knew quite well, his old friends stood in the crowd away from him, especially the ones that were placed under that deadly genjutsu. as they wonder why was Naruto here and what was going on. Did he reconsider their order? If he did, why was he doing this? Why would he want to speak to one of the Elder Council members, Danzo of all people? It didn't take too long as the Hokage along with Danzo and the other members of the Elder Council appeared. As Naruto looked towards his former sensei and saw him in the Hokage robes, he remembered one point in his life he wanted to be the one to wear that, but not anymore. Danzo quickly gave the order. Anvus, seize them both! As two Anvus moved towards Naruto and Kurama, who did not move a muscle. As they did not know, well, they ought to know, that they were going towards their own death. As the look in Naruto's eyes made that 100% certain, as an ominous feeling radiated from him, as the people start to get tense at the ominous feeling as the two root ninjas move. As Sakura could feel it, this was not the same Naruto at all. This feeling, it was so dark. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see this person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share with all of your friends in your social media platform. And also remember to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Went Insane with a Powerful Bloodline. Enjoyed that, guys. Over on Anime King. And yes, I indeed have 3 channels: Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead, click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? What am I saying? We're getting the hell out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.